From the shining domicile that is Pittsburgh Comics, my old mannered comic shop owner, Colin McMahon, transforms into the world's greatest comic book talking TV host. Join us, true believers, for Comics Now!
Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Now for January 2023. It's a new year, fresh starts, lots of fresh books coming out. January and February are always odd months in the comic industry because for some reason the holidays always seem to catch the publishers off guard and they can never plan for them. So they always kind of end up taking like the last 2 weeks of the year off, which leaves January kind of a jumble of a lot of books that are late. A lot of stuff slides to February. I remember a couple weeks ago in November, I think it was in November, we were actually ordering for Valentine's Day. So things are a little crazy this time of year. I don't know why the calendar doesn't change. But so there's but still there are lots of new stuff coming out. There's lots of really good stuff that has come out that you might not have seen. Pat has been working really hard getting sets together of older stories. So instead of finding graphic novels, you can get all the issues of some stories put together in a set that he's pricing really to move. So come on in and take a look there. Now we're getting back on track. We didn't do book club last month because it would have fallen right on Christmas Eve, and that I figured people were going to be a little bit busy. So we are back to doing book club. It's going to be on Friday, January 27th, and we're going to do May's book by Jeff Lemire. It was a really neat book, a really good story. So I highly recommend it, even if you're not coming to book club, to give it a read. But so we're doing that at the end of the month. And for January, we are doing Cullen Bunn month. I always try to vary it up doing a creator instead of just characters and publishers. And Cullen Bunn has written so much stuff, I figured it would be a good time for us to spotlight some of his books and some of the works and the varied stuff that he has done. And he even has a new one coming out in January that I'll talk about a little bit later. So let's get into what's coming out. And this month, we're going to start with DC Comics. DC has a new event starting this month. It's a little bit different from most events. It's just going to be a series of one-shots, which is a little bit odd and a little really hard to order. But it's Lazarus Planet, spinning out of the events of Batman vs. Robin #4, where the Lazarus Pit volcano has exploded, spewing Lazarus fluid all over the earth, and it's causing craziness. So, change the world. Following the explosive events of Batman vs. Robin 4, the Lazarus volcano has erupted, spewing dangerous and transformative chemicals into Earth's atmosphere. As these clouds rain down upon the planet, people across the globe begin to develop strange new abilities, watch their already extraordinary abilities change, and witness a whole host of chaos unlike anything the DCU has experienced before. It's up to Damian Wayne to put out the distress call for whoever can still hear it. Come to the ruins of the Hall of Justice and help save the world. Poison Ivy, Power Girl, Cyborg, Batman, and more answer the call. But why could the fate of all of life as we know it rest in the hands of Monkey Prince? Then we have Lazarus Planet, Assault on Krypton. With the world in chaos and Lazarus raining down from the skies, the Earth's protectors from Krypton are hit hard. In this collection of epic vignettes from in and around Lazarus Planet, we'll see heroes transformed, secrets revealed, and power unleashed. Can Power Girl free herself from the out-of-control Omen? Will Dreamer's visions guide our hordes to the path of victory? Can Mercy Graves survive the transformation she's undergone? And will Jonathan Kent ever be the same again? Then we have Lazarus Planet, We Once Were Gods. As the Lazarus rain beats down upon planet Earth, human beings are only a fraction of those affected by this transformative upheaval. Enter We Once Were Gods. This series of vignettes explores Lazarus Planet's effects across the many extraordinary locations and creatures in the DC universe, and like their human counterparts, these beings are in for some big changes. Can Themyscira survive the resurrection of every invading army that ever graced its shores? Will Martian Manhunter survive a psychic link to a doomsday nest? What happens when the monsters from the trench gain the ability to breathe air? And look out, Shazam family, the Rock of Eternity is about to get rocked. Lazarus Planet Legends Reborn. New friends, new foes, new legends. Ancient and dangerous power has been awakened following the eruption of the Lazarus volcano. And this surge of fantastical power will affect the DC universe forevermore. In Legends Reborn, we'll explore corners of the planet newly awakened and primed to restore some heroes and villains long forgotten. With the help of Nightwing, can hero City Boy hope to commune with Gotham in time to save it? Who are the mysterious trio claiming to be resurrected siblings of Raven? How far will the Question go to chase a lead across a transformed Gotham City? And will the flame of Firestorm burn out yet another horrific host? Not if Harley Quinn has anything to say about it. Now, we got Batman One Bad Day. This time we're getting Bane. Bane broke the bat. He's one of the only villains to ever truly vanquish the Dark Knight. But is that all he's ever accomplished? Decades from now, Bane is a washed-up wrestler reliving his glory days in the ring, defeating someone dressed like Batman every day. When he discovers that there's a new source of venom in the world, he'll do everything he can to shut down the facility it's coming from for good and make sure that no one takes the poison that ruined his life. An epic saga set throughout Bane's life, expanding on the hopes, dreams, regrets, and failures of one of DC's most legendary figures. We also have, coming back, Batman The Adventures Continue Volume 3. This is continuing the story from the animated series. We have Batman Legends of Gotham #1. With Batman preoccupied, his deepest, darkest, most dangerous secrets are about to be auctioned off to the highest bidder. The guest list is strictly villains only, and the outlaw Red Hood fits the bill, putting him on a collision course with Batman's deniable Black Ops team, the Outsiders. With Lazarus Island spawning wildcard superpowers across the globe, the stakes could not be higher. Jason Todd, Black Lightning, and Katana will have to put aside their differences to save Batman's legacy, and with it, the world. That's assuming they don't kill each other first. We also have their Valentine's Day special, which is coming out right at the end of January, is DC's Harley Quinn romances. DC is proud to present a selection of 8 stories of rapscallion romance, prodigious passion, and undulating, unbridled affection. It sounds like it's written by Stan Lee. We have Action Comics 1051. Action Comics Reborn. Beginning a new format offering 3 epic adventures of Superman and the entire Super family. Following the bombshell events of Action 1050, the world's relationship with Superman is forever changed. The upper limits of his supercharged powers have yet to be reached, and the House of L's transformation of Metropolis, led by Steel, has begun. But Lex Luthor has found the perfect instrument with which to undo everything Superman is working to achieve, Metallo, whose hatred of Superman is matched only by his hatred of Lex Luthor himself. We have DC Power, a celebration, celebrating Black History Month. We have Cyborg, John Stewart, Aqualad, Kid Flash, Batwing, Vixen, Amazing Man, and more take center stage to highlight the power of Black excellence across the DC universe in stories from a variety of comics' finest Black artists and writers. And we have the Flash 1-Minute War Special. A lot can happen in 60 seconds as the Flash event rages on. Writer Jeremy Adams gives you further insights into the alien speedster race that has invaded Central City and how the Flash family fights back. And then we also have a Flash 123 facsimile edition. That's the Flash of Two Worlds, the first meeting of the Golden Age and Silver Age Flash. Now we're on to Marvel Comics. Okay, at Marvel, Dark Web is raging on. It's going through Amazing Spider-Man 17 and 18, Gold Goblin 3, Mary Jane and Black Cat 2, Venom 15, and Dark Web Ms. Marvel 2, and Dark Web X-Men 3. Neat book, Avengers War Across Time. This is written by Paul Levitz, who ran DC Comics for ages. He's writing his first Marvel book, and it's an Avengers book drawn by Alan Davis. The classic Avengers against the Hulk on the streets of New York. It's the beginning of a showdown with Kang the Conqueror that will span the centuries. Then we have a new Scarlet Witch #1. There's a door that appears only to those who need it most, who have no one else in the world to turn to. On the other side of this door is the Witchcraft Shop. Friend or foe, human or otherwise, if your need is great and your hope is gone, there you will meet the Scarlet Witch. Wanda Maximoff is familiar with hitting rock bottom. And now that she's finally found peace, she's pledged all her power to help others who are languishing at their lowest. But when a woman falls through Wanda's door with a terrifying story of a town gone mad, the Scarlet Witch will have to master her wits and chaos magic to deal with an insidious threat. Wasp is also getting a miniseries. Fashion designer, businesswoman, founding Avenger, Janet Van Dyne has worn many hats over the course of her superheroic career. But when an old enemy threatens Janet and her fellow Wasp Nadia, seemingly against his will, the Van Dynes will have to confront the ghosts of their shared history to get to the bottom of the mystery. We also have Joe Fixit. Peter David's tour de force through some of his greatest Hulk hits continues with a return to Joe Fixit. Gone are the ripped-up shorts of the Hulk of yore. This enforcer prefers the slick suave of a striped suit, and the Hulk has traded in monster for mobster as he lends his strength to the Las Vegas casino scene. Of course, the Kingpin has his own ideas about who the toughest guy in town is, and it's up to Spider-Man to keep the two of them from destroying Sin City. Avengers Assemble continues through Avengers 64 and through Avengers Forever 13. Then we also have the Sins of Sinister starting in the X-Men books. It's the end of the world as we know it, and at least Sinister feels fine, for now. Can that last? Especially when we discover that he really is his own worst enemy. The universe-melting X-Event begins here in a horror timeline that makes Age of Apocalypse look like the X-Men swimsuit special. And we also have Murder World Wolverine. Wolverine is the best he is at what he does, and what he does is hunt victims in Murder World. Our contestants are about to feel the snikt. Will anyone survive Arcade's deadliest game? Arcade and his schemes have been a punchline in the past, but this game is no joke. We also have two Incredible Hulk's facsimile editions. They're doing issue number 1 and issue 347, which was the first appearance of Mr. Fix-It. Now on to Image Comics. Coming in January from Image Comics, we start off with Black Cloak number 1. This is from Kelly Thompson. Blade Runner style mixes with saga-esque drama in a delectable fantasy sci-fi blend as two black cloaks try to solve the murder of a beloved prince in Kairos, the last city in the known world, before his murder tips the city into war. We have Immortal Sergeant. This is from Joe Kelly. On the eve of his unwelcome retirement, Jim Sargent, a grizzled old-school detective, catches a break on a murder case that's haunted him for decades. Unfortunately, Sarge must drag his anxiety-riddled adult son Michael along for the ride, or risk losing the lead forever. Can this dysfunctional duo overcome their hang-ups, blind spots, and secrets to catch a killer? We have Spawn Unwanted Violence. This is by Todd McFarlane and Mike Del Mundo. Information can be one of the most valuable resources in the world. It can also be one of the most difficult to obtain. Luckily for Spawn, he has the Freak. The Freak is a master of getting what he needs out of a subject. But as the Freak works at extracting the whereabouts of File F, Al witnesses an act of senseless violence, one that he can't ignore. Then we have Inferno Girl Red. This is from the Radiant universe. A new school, new relationships, and new possibilities for any teenager. Big moves are both challenging and exciting, but it's a whole other thing for Cassia Costa, because an ancient cult in their army of demons has ripped her new home of Apex City out of our universe and cast it into darkness. To have any hope of saving it, Cassia must survive the worst night of her life, embrace a secret legacy, and find the courage to fight when all seems lost. As the blazing light of hope in the dark, Inferno Girl Red. We have Scotch McTiernan's Holiday Party. The most powerful Scrooges in the human race are visited by the ghosts of Christmas future when they try to colonize Mars. Stringer hardcover. This is an original hardcover. It's set in 1983. Tournament Tennis. A racket stringer turned small-time drug dealer gets in over his head, transporting a gym bag of cocaine across Europe. Carrying $500,000 in narcotics puts him on the radar of every dangerous man on the continent. Whoops. We're getting an Invincible facsimile edition from Image. And then we have a couple of Mark Millar books. We have The Magic Order Volume 4, Number 1. The Magic Order is in turmoil after Cordelia is forced to expel her brother. Whispers of discontent persist among the other wizards. They're tired of the rules and they've been living under, and now a coup is brewing. We also have Nemesis Reloaded, Mark Millar and Jorge Jimenez. The world's most evil comic book is back. Who is Nemesis, and why does this eccentric billionaire who dresses up in a mask and cape and want to terrorize people instead of helping them? Isn't that how this is supposed to go? Trigger warning, too violent and too cool for some. We have a one-shot Rockstar and Soft Boy Go to Space by Sina Grace. And Saga returns with issue 61. And now on to Boom Studios. We have Dune the House Harkonnen, #1. This is the second official prequel to Dune, and it's adapted for the first time, unveiling a closer look at the rising conflict between beloved characters and bitter villains, for all you Dune fans. Then we have Mosley. This is by Rob Guillory. In the hyper-technological world of the later 21st century, Mosley is a bitter old janitor on a mission from a higher power to unleash holy hell upon the too-big-to-fail tech gods. Can one man bring down the corporate powers who've used their vast influence to oppress an all-too-complacent human race and hopefully win back the favor of his estranged family while he's at it? Dark Horse has a new one from Matt Kindt, Spy Superb. It's John Wick meets Wes Anderson in this mystery thriller about a secret organization that's developed the perfect spy. Who is the perfect spy? A spy who doesn't even realize they are a spy, aka the useful idiot. This particular useful idiot is named Jay. Jay is sent on missions without even realizing he's on a mission, until he picks up the wrong phone with the wrong secret intel, and now Russian hit squads and elite assassins are after him. But Jay believes he was a sleeper agent and really is the Spy Superb. His complete obliviousness and lack of survival skills may be the only thing that saves him in this globe-trotting espionage tale, where nothing is what it seems, but also kind of actually is what it seems. We have Mr. Mammoth hardcover. This is also by Matt Kindt. Mr. Mammoth is the world's greatest detective and the kind of person you don't forget, being a 7-foot-tall pacifist who's covered head to toe with an impressive collection of horrific scars makes quite the impression. But he might be losing his edge. He can't seem to solve his latest case, and he's distracted with a strange obsession with a soap opera actress who doesn't even know he exists. His new case holds clues that might finally unlock the secret of his traumatic childhood. The question is he solving a crime or planning one? We also have Stranger Things returns, The Many Ghosts of Dr. Brenner. The year is 1968. Dr. Martin Brenner, a disgraced American scientist, returns to an abandoned lab where he and his colleagues collected research for top-secret government projects. But Brenner's unfinished business in his old lab isn't the only thing haunting him. A ghostly face from his past seems to be following his every step. We also have a new Dragon Age miniseries tying into the video game. Then we have White Savior. An ancient prophecy foretold of an outsider that would save the peaceful village of Inoki from an unstoppable army. A man who would confuse the people at first with his unconventional ways, but lead them to the light. Nathan Guerin, captain in the United States Army, known for his viciousness in battle on the American frontier, could be that man if he weren't such an awful drunken idiot. Now it's up to the Japanese-American teacher Todd Parker to warn the good people of Inoki of Guerin's true nature before he causes the very death and destruction they are counting on him to avert. Now on to Dynamite, where they're bringing back Darkwing Duck. He is the terror that flaps in the night. He is the ferocious fowl who plucks the evil eye from the face of foul play. He is Darkwing Duck. Alongside his trusty sidekick, Lockpad McQuack, Darkwing hyper-violently defends St. Canard from the dastardly devilish demons who would wage wanton war. By night, our Cape Defender lurks in the shadows, striking fear and maybe confusion in the heart of the criminal underworld. But by day, no one suspects that Darkwing is also mild-mannered Drake Mallard, a well-meaning father to his adorable adopted daughter, Gosselin. Can he successfully navigate his two lives? We also have Purgatory Must Die. Purgatory is always angering somebody, but this time she's gone too far. It may have some connection to her growing insanely power and probably starting to kill and eat the gods. In fact, that last part for sure. And gods are like potato chips, right? It's not like she's going to stop at just one. And so the various pantheons have pooled their not inconsiderable resources to offer up a big prize to whoever manages to kill her. Who wants to try? Hey, who doesn't? We also have a Green Hornet one-shot, One Night in Bangkok. In this all-new tale, the son of a criminal the Green Hornet once sent to prison has grown up vowing vengeance on the costume crime fighter. And with the training of the world's foremost assassin, the man known only as Snake will at last have his revenge. Descending on Century City, Snake sets out on a bloody campaign to decimate the criminal population, all in the name of the Green Hornet. It's up to the Green Hornet to leap into action, salvage his reputation, and confront Snake before more lives are lost. Aftershock has a new one, The Bulls of Beacon Hill. Dr. Christopher Bolt has everything he ever wanted, a successful career as a surgeon, a supportive and loving boyfriend, and an overload of hype on his rumored run for Boston City Council. But there's one problem. It's all held up by a lie. For years, Chris has been hiding in plain sight, desperate not to be connected to his father, Orrin Page, one of Boston's most notorious gangsters. Until now, Chris has been able to live with the secret, and Chris's father has been just as happy to deny any connection to his queer son, who he sees as a liability in the mob world. Now, Chris's political aspirations have put father and son on a collision course bathed in blood. Ablaze gives us a new one, Children of the Black Sun. Over the years, a black sun has risen twice. A dark dawn whose days have done terrible things to people's minds, driven them to all sorts of horror. 12 years have passed since the last time, and the world still fears the return of that inexplicable phenomenon. But fear is not the only legacy of these terrible days. All the women who got pregnant under the influence of the black sun have given birth to babies with some peculiarities. White hair, ashy skin, abnormal proportions, and eyes as red as fire. The children of the black sun. Archie gives us Archie versus the World. In a post-apocalyptic future, our hero Archie Andrews is cursed to walk the world alone. Well, alone in his souped-up jalopy. But Archie can defend himself. In fact, he's the master of a brutal, deadly form of martial arts and must use his skill when he comes face-to-face with his rival and mirror image, Reggie. AWA has a new one, Trojan. Once upon a time, we lived alongside legends, creatures of myth, centaurs, fauns, gorgons, kelpies, gnomes, and more. They were spectacular, majestic, powerful, peaceful, pure. In comparison, we were ugly, weak, warmongering, rotten. Is it any wonder we could not live alongside them any longer? After driving these legends to the fringes of society, an uglier form of mythos takes shape in the form of rumors of live snuff shows for dark web high rollers. When a mysterious young woman, Nessa, enlists the help of a hacker to take the tour of the grisliest corners of the dark web, she sets in motion a war between those who peddle to mankind's darkest fantasies and a world that transcends imagination. IDW has a new one, Breath of Shadows. It's the mid-1960s and Jimmy Meadows should be on top of the world. His band's most recent album just went gold, and they're riding a wave to international fame. But Jimmy is driven by only one thing, where to get his next fix. With his band at the end of their ropes with his life falling apart, Jimmy thinks he may be finished, until a friend tells him about a controversial method deep in the jungles of South America that can help him kick his addiction for good. But is clean living in Jimmy's future, or will he instead unleash horrors beyond his wildest nightmares? Oni is bringing back a Rick and Morty #1. And Source Point Press has one, Nightwalkers #1. This is by Man of the Month, Cullen Bunn. Saren is an addict in recovery in a rehabilitation center secluded in the mountains, completely isolated from the outside world. When Saren and the other patients wake to find themselves locked inside and abandoned by the center staff, they must decide whether to wait or to break out. The decision is made for them when a bloodthirsty monster enters the center and begins to tear through them to satiate its lust for blood. They also have Zombicide, Day 1. The dead are returning to life to devour the living. In an instant, the world was plunged into chaos. No one could have predicted it, no one except Ned. They thought he was crazy, but now he's vindicated. He has a safe shelter, fully stocked with everything he needs to survive, and just waiting to welcome him and his group of friends. That is, if they can even reach it. There's a city full of zombies to cross. Ammo is scarce, supplies too. They must move slowly and silently to avoid notice. But when the horde catches on, they'll have to strike fast and hard if they are to survive. Sumerian has one called How I Became a Shoplifter, Crime Through Boredom. A year-by-year look at the final generation of juvenile delinquents before technology took over. Watch the comical cast of characters grow up as each chapter is set in a different year. Vault brings back Barbaric with Barbaric Hell to Pay. While Owen tames a dragon with an old friend, Soren and Steel cross paths with someone else from our cursed barbarian's past, who isn't looking nearly as friendly. Hell hath no fury like a woman stabbed through the heart by an ugly orc. And last we have one from Whatnot, Exiled #1. This is written by Wesley Snipes. The Exiled follows hard-boiled detective Niles Roach Washington as he pursues a serial killer who's using mysterious ancient tools to rip the spines from his victims. When forces outside and within the police department attempt to discredit him for his theories, Roach's instincts keep pushing him forward. With enemies on all sides, Roach wades deeper into the conspiracy and uncovers a secret 5,000 years in the making. So that's a lot of the #1s that are coming out in January. Lots of series are continuing. We have new stuff coming from everybody still. Continuing stories. Excited to have Saga back because that's a favorite. So lots of stuff going on. We are doing book club again on the 27th. We're doing May's book. It's Cullen Bunn month, so check out our Cullen Bunn display of all of his stuff. If you have any questions, the website's pittsburghcomics.com, Facebook is Pittsburgh Comics, Twitter and Instagram are PGH Comics. So thanks for watching and stay tuned for Comic Previews Theater. See ya.
Panicked, they flee, hoping to outrun explosions of tear gas that clog every direction, burning nostrils and blinding eyes. What was meant to disperse the crowd instead causes untold chaos. But it won't just be mental trauma that will linger past today. Someone call an ambulance! Ignoring their own safety, others gather and desperately call for help. A young woman came with her daughter and a cardboard sign. Just a cardboard sign. Hoping to make her voice heard. A voice now silenced, like so many before her. Because those with power will always say, "This is not the time. Be patient." It's been a lie. Since the dawn of man, those with money and influence promise change will come, then do nothing towards it. And an endless string of prayers for centuries have unjustly gone unanswered. But if God won't intervene, then the weak can wait no longer. Their faith may have to be put into the hands of another.
Who did this?